This is Gagaba village on the western side of Mandera County in Kenya. The women here are busy on their farm making sure the next harvest is better than the last. A few miles away, Ismail still can't believe how successful his small kitchen garden has turned out. Vegetables are in plenty. Abdiya, on the other hand, is stocking fodder for her livestock. She has enough to last till the next rainy season. Abdi, a member of the Gul Farm self-help group, is inspecting the group farm that is now supplying fruits to the local market in Takaba every week. Abe Hajo has just moved into her newly constructed house courtesy of this group of women. Everything is looking up. If you came here 10 years ago, you'd find none of these projects. Instead, you'd meet a vulnerable pastoralist community whose livelihoods depended entirely on livestock despite the unfavorable weather patterns. The people of Mandera West Sub-County have over the years been severely affected by recurring drought and other multiple disasters, putting them on the greater risk of food insecurity. The region's erratic weather underscores how many pastoralists live on the edge of crisis, facing the loss of livestock, leading to hunger and malnutrition. For the better part of the year, residents not only face food shortage, but also lack pasture for their animals. Abdiya Gallo recalls walking miles and miles to the neighboring country of Ethiopia with over 100 cows in search of pasture, only to return home with 15.
Every time there was drought, we had to migrate with our animals to other places in search of pasture. At times, we were forced to buy fodder from traders in Nairobi and other parts of the country.
Ismail too has been a victim of the unforgiving drought.
We moved with all our animals to Ethiopia hoping to find pasture, but we came back poorer as most of the animals starved to death.
Frequent droughts and flooding have left the community dependent on food relief. ADRA Kenya, with funding from Canadian Food Grains Bank, CFGB, and ADRA Canada, has been changing lives here in Mandera West Sub-County through value-added food security interventions. ADRA's humanitarian response in Mandera West Sub-County started way back in 2011 with emergency intervention targeting drought-affected population.
ADRA came to respond to emergency following the 2010-2011 drought, which was very severe. And the first target was 1,000 households, whom were getting food in kind.
Over the years, these interventions from ADRA have gradually transitioned from emergency to resilience building.
In 2017, ADRA developed another proposal for 3 years on the rehabilitation of agricultural land ecosystem. They were targeting 3 areas of intervention, that is kitchen garden, fodder production through FMNR, and they also introduced the component of group saving and loading associations.
Mandera, like most counties in the northeastern part of Kenya, experience little to no rainfall. Water is a scarce commodity here, hence the common perception that the region is not suitable for farming. Farming is the least thing discussed in many households in this remote part of the country. In fact, farming has been considered by many here the lowest possible economic venture one can undertake. That notion is slowly fading away for many households after ADRA Kenya introduced the residents to some of the best practices geared towards reducing negative coping strategies while improving food security in the region. Kitchen garden farming is one such intervention that has been well received and implemented by this pastoralist community.
The people here usually consume animal-based foods, which form the biggest part of their meals. So to diversify their meals and improve the nutrition of the people, pregnant mothers, lactating mothers and children, introducing vegetables was key.
We meet Mumina Isaac Hassan working in a small kitchen garden at her home, a routine she has religiously sustained since she was introduced to the kitchen gardening by ADRA Kenya. Her farm will produce enough vegetable for her family use.
Our children are healthier because we have incorporated vegetables in their diet unlike before. I am happy for the fact that I don't have to go to the market to get the vegetables. I have enough in my kitchen garden.
Not far from Mumina's home is Ismail Haji's farm. Ismail is one of the many men in this region that have fully embraced farming as an alternative source of livelihood. He spends much of his time in his kitchen garden. With the help of his wife and kids, the results are impressive. The vegetables are in plenty. Before the introduction of kitchen gardens in this region, Ismail would be busy moving from place to place in search of pasture for his livestock.
Zamani wakati mimi nahama,
When
hata
I used
watoto
to
yangu
move around
wengi
with my
wengine
livestock,
hajafundisha
my
kwa
children
shule.
missed out on education.
Sasa shule
But
iko
now
hapa,
things have changed, thanks
duksi
to
iko
ADRA.
hapa, mifugo
All my
yote iko
family is
hapa,
here, in one
kila
place.
kitu iko hapa, mama iko, kila
What
kitu
more
iko
would
hapa.
one ask for?
Hata wewe hawezi kupata kitu kama hiyo.
Kitchen gardens have led to a sustainable supply of nutritious fresh vegetables to this pastoralist community of Mandera West. This initiative seeks to diversify sources and quality of food and nutrients for vulnerable persons such as women and children.
ADRA Kenya, they have been rooting for growing of vegetables through introduction of kitchen gardens. This has gone well down with the people, with the locals who have habitually been pastoralists and dependent on animal food products. Now that when you go to a homestead, you will not find a meal without veggies being served. This is one of the changes that ADRA Kenya has brought through kitchen garden.
In the past, our children appeared malnourished and sick, but since they started consuming vegetables, they are healthier.
Now that these households have registered success in kitchen garden farming, many other women are willing to learn so that they too can venture and replicate the success story in kitchen garden farming. Ismail dreams of having a big farm that will supply the whole of Takaba town. He appreciates ADRA Kenya for introducing him to vegetable farming.
Sukuma hizi hii kupata ni ngumu zamani.
We couldn't access some of these vegetables before, but since we started growing them, life is much better. As long as I'm alive, I will keep farming. In fact, I want to fill all this space with vegetables.
When ADRA came on board around 10 years ago, the local communities were not consuming vegetables. They could not believe that it is edible. But I'm happy to say today, the demand for vegetables has gone up. Today, ADRA is proud to say that through kitchen garden, there is production of vegetables which is being sold in the local markets.
One of the major challenges when it comes to large-scale commercial crop production in this region is water shortage. That too is changing. These neat green patches of sprouting leafy vegetables growing in rows contrasts the brown arid landscape of Mandera West sub-county in the northeastern part of Kenya. Each passing day, they dig into the arable land and grow all types of crops all year round. For the last 2 years, this farm has provided an alternative source of livelihood to them and their families. Every harvest season has not only guaranteed them food on the table, but money in their pockets as well. This is made possible through the Farm Pond Technology, an initiative of ADRA Kenya. ADRA Kenya is keen on expanding key resilience-focused interventions for a complete and sustainable food security cycle in Mandera West.
So this farm pond harvests runoff water, then the runoff water is used for farming vegetables using climate smart technology. Through this technology, production of vegetables going year round, as opposed to the previous years where production of vegetables was only limited to when the rains were available.
Robo Osman, the chairperson of the group, recalls how unbearable life was for women before the introduction of this technology. On any other day, like many other women in the region, she'd be at home, restricted to house chores. But this farm has liberated her, she says.
In the past, we were confined to the kitchen as housewives. As women, we didn't have wealth. We only depended on men. But this farm has made it possible for me to create wealth. I am rich. I need to even start 3 other farms. We used to ask men to give us money for everything. Now, they're the ones asking money from us.
Several kilometers away, we meet Abdi, another beneficiary of the farm pond technology. Abdi is a member of the Gul Farm self-help group in Takaba. The farm has got all kinds of fruit trees. Abdi says the group started in 2013 but experienced a lot of difficulties when they tried to farm due to water shortage. But after the construction of the farm pond and adoption of climate-smart technology, they've seen a big difference.
ADRA has equipped us with knowledge. They have further dug a pond for us, supplied us with water tanks and drip irrigation. Our lives have changed. Every day we take to the market fruits like pawpaw, mangoes, watermelons, and even kales, onions and tomatoes.
So far, ADRA has constructed 7 farm ponds in Mandera West sub-county. Each pond, when filled up, holds about 250,000 liters of water, enough to irrigate the farms until the next rainy season.
Most people outside the groups that you assisted have come up with their farms. They have gone ahead to grow crops. They have done irrigation using the model farms that you established. And I believe this thing is going to live and be replicated even beyond Mandera West.
The increased water output ensures that these farmers have enough water for their crops all year round. Proceeds from these farms have enabled beneficiaries to truly diversify their income.
Last season, we made over 50,000 Kenya shillings from the sale of beans and vegetables from this farm. We have also started another business of selling goats. We have 20 goats at the moment.
One other challenge facing these pastoralist communities has been shortage of fodder for the animals due to prolonged droughts. In the past, they've had to travel far distances in search of pasture for their livestock.
Every time there was drought, we had to migrate with our animals to other places in search of pasture. At times, we were forced to buy fodder from traders in Nairobi and other parts of the country.
Today, Abdia is not worried at all about fodder for her livestock, even during dry seasons. She has plenty in store, something that was unheard of a few years back. Abdia is one of the beneficiaries of the Farmer-Managed Natural Regeneration Program, FMNR, introduced here by ADRA Kenya. ADRA Kenya is helping residents restore degraded land in Takaba and Dando divisions of Mandera.
Through the Farmer-Managed Natural Regeneration, which is a land restoration technique, we have managed to restore an approximate of 10,000 acres of degraded land, thereby giving beneficiaries an opportunity for more fodder, which in turn would lead to increased milk production.
Farmers like Abdia can now produce and preserve enough fodder for future use while conserving the environment.
We have received so much knowledge from ADRA that for the last 2 seasons we've been the ones selling grass to others.
Kama hankakuwa hii nyasi hii safari hii,
If not for this fodder, all my livestock would be dead by now.
Wangekusha kitambo.
This is Abe Hajo, and this is what used to be her house. By local standards, it still is a good house, but this is better. This is her new house, which she constructed after receiving a loan from a local savings group. Hajo is a member of this women's savings group in Mandera West and attributes her improved living standards to the group and ADRA Kenya.
This house cost me 800,000 Kenya shillings to build. I borrowed 400,000 from my savings group, which I've managed to repay. I am thankful to ADRA Kenya for empowering women through such groups.
Now, with money in the hands of residents, nothing is going to stop the wheels of development in Mandera West. Group Saving and Loaning Association, commonly known as GSLA, is ADRA's disaster risk reduction intervention that seeks to diversify and improve the quality of life through creation of stable, supportive financial systems for its members.
Where before the project started, livestock was the sole source of income here. But now, when they have the GSLAs, they have somewhere where they can take money, start their own businesses, or start businesses as a group. So that when the drought strikes, you don't have to sell your livestock, you don't have to borrow from your neighbors, you don't have to depend on relief, but your business and the money that you have saved will sustain you through the drought.
The financial models in place have become the principal empowerment tools promoting loaning and saving. Members are encouraged to take loans for business startups that ultimately help them to be self-reliant. Halima knows this too well. Her fully stocked shop is the envy of many. Unknown to some, all this was made possible by Tabaso Self-Help Group, a group that has for the last 2 years helped her save money and even take loan for expansion of her shop. These women now have an opportunity to explore new ways of diversifying their incomes to reduce their vulnerability. The flight of development and change has taken off, and not even the COVID pandemic seems to slow it down. There is so much to show for the last 10 years that ADRA has been on the ground in Mandera West. Yet nothing exceeds the joy of a transformed life.